A fruit cup landed me in front of several police with guns drawn. Reddit. What are your best well that escalated quickly stories? I was taking photos of my friend's band playing a gig at a festival. As they finish, and I give them a hand packing down, I notice that it's Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters' other band playing next, so I sneak myself a little spot to sit at the side of the stage. Next thing I know, Dave Grohl, Josh Homme and John Paul Jones all came and sat next to me. I nearly shit and came simultaneously. Age 24, female, involved in a RLDR with boyfriend. One night at 3 AM I get a call from a number I do not recognize. It's a friend of my BF, telling me he is locked out, lived up the street from me, and wanted to know if he could stay on my couch for the night. Like an idiot I let him in. He proceeds to try to follow me back to my bedroom. Struggle ensues. My good neighbor guy friends are outside drinking. Hear me, run in and drag the guy out. Apparently he got my cell hash by calling my BF and telling him some lie about leaving something at my house. The next day I get a call from this ashat, claiming he blacked out, doesn't remember anything, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, just forget my number. I was freaked out about it and didn't want to leave my house for a while. My good guy friends convinced me to go out with them and have a beer. We walked to our local spot, Station 1 in Springfield, Ohio, and the gropey lying fratted is there. A friend comes up to me and tells me he has been talking shit about me all night, how I wanted him to come over. I was all over him. I'm a slut. ECT. Right, if I wanted you so bad, why did you have to lie to get my phone number? The slimeball proceeds to follow me around. Anywhere I go, he follows. From the dartboard to the jukebox, from the window to the wall, I can't get away from this douche. Finally, I look at him and say, I'm not comfortable with you next to me. Please leave me alone. He then starts slurring that he doesn't want me. No one wants me. I told him to prove it and leave me the fuck alone. He looks at my guy friends and says, they aren't your friends. These are my brothers. You get the fuck out. Now, they may have all been in a frat together, but I have been through thick and thin with these fellas for 8 years. I should also mention that Rap Bulls on Parade is blaring. My good friend John tells him, she asked you to leave her alone. Douche responds, after I set her straight, grabbing my arm. My first reaction was to hit him, but before I even had my arm back, John literally beat me to the punch. John grabs him by the chest of his shirt, lifts him up, and throws him over a table full of college kids, breaking the table, spilling beer, glass shattering. One of those the music stops and everyone clears out kinda moments. The douche gets up crying. John pounds his clenched fist once on his chest and yells, this girl is everything but blood to me. You look at her again, I'll stomp your fucking face. Get the fuck out of our bar. Douche runs away, crying. It looked like he had pissed himself, but it could have been the beer. The bartender came over to us, shook John's hand, told us that asshole had left his tab open, and we drank for free the rest of the night. TLDR, free beer tastes best when it's on the tab of your attempted rapist. It's Lame but a friend of mine, and I skipped class back when we were in HS. We decided to go hang out in the handicap stall and talk since she was having a shitty day. Well, we got caught and sent to the principal's office and both questioned and searched. Apparently, the $2 of lunch money I owed her was left on the ground, and they thought it was a drug deal. When they asked me if the $2 was for drugs, I responded with, tell me, what decent drugs can I buy for $2? It wasn't the answer they were looking for. I was sitting at an outdoor cafe. Dude I kind of know comes up and sits with me, and person I was chatting with. I'm not really paying attention, drinking my tasty drink. Dude gets out a thing, which turns out to be a lighter in the shape of a tiny gun, and starts taking it apart, fixing it or refilling it or something. Apparently there's an armored car across the street. They, apparently, somehow get a glimpse of the tiny gun lighter, call police, and before I know what's up, we've all got guns in our faces, angry police shouting at us not to move, and are being pushed down on the sidewalk. Dude is cuffed and searched, then let go. Me and other person are let up shaking to return to our spilled drinks. It wasn't awesome. open bracket. This girl was once standing next to me at a bar while I spoke to my friend then. When my friend walked away, I ordered a drink, turned around, said hello, and she punched me so hard in the face that the next thing I knew I was on the floor and my friend was on her back pulling her hair out while bar staff were cradling their faces because they had also been punched. I got up and she called me a racist and a homophobe. I'm a gay lady and I didn't say or do anything racist while people were struggling to bring her down. I just stood there and took a sip of my drink. It was fucking crazy. I was at lunch in high school like 7 years ago or something, eating with a friend of mine. He had one of those dermal hearing aids because his hearing was pretty bad. He always caught a lot of shit for it because high schoolers are fucking horrible creatures. This guy comes up to him and starts talking shit. At first I thought the guy was a friend of his and just fucking with him, but I learned later he'd been tormenting him like all day and throughout the school year. Anyway, he says something my friend doesn't like. My friend flips the fucking table over. I just managed to save my sandwich with my lightning quick reflexes and just starts beating the shit out of the guy. I would have helped him out of principle and everything, but honestly he looked like he had that shit covered and I had a delicious chicken sandwich to finish off. Turns out he did indeed have that shit covered. The guy was a known troublemaker, so my friend got off with a minor punishment. My friend actually managed to rip a chunk of his afro out and made him cry. And that's why you don't fuck with the disabled. When I was in high school, there was a girl who rode my bus who lived far away. The bus drove out every day just to drop her off. A lot of kids on the bus resented her for it, but I had taken a liking to her, so I swore that if any of them picked on her I would stick up for her. That day came. Someone yelled out, "Hey, girl, why don't you get a taxi or something?" I responded, "Hey asshole, why don't you shut up?" A lot of people went ooh as low people do when there's a fight. The fuck you just say to me? The adrenaline was pumping through me. I said, "Leave her alone, fuckward, or I swear to God I will cut your dick off and feed it to you." Got that, shit skin? I was so angry and riled up by the idea of a fight. I could see that he was taken aback. My friend told me later that he was actually afraid of me for a moment in case he got in the crossfire. The guy stood up at this point. The bus driver pulled over, interrogated us and brought him to the front of the bus. My son got in a fight in after school daycare and got a black eye. Next morning I was at work and my wife could not get him to go to school because he was too embarrassed the other kids would make fun of him for losing a fight. My wife calls me frantically and I'm at work with no time to deal with it. I told her to tell him to just say the other kid was much bigger so no one could blame him for getting beat up. Next thing I know I get a call from the police. My son told the school an adult had attacked him and they believed him and called the cops. When the cops talked to my son, he told them he had made it up because his mother told him to say that. The cops called her and she told them I told her to tell him that. So the cops assumed I had beat him and told him to lie about it. So I told the cops the story and they called the daycare. Unfortunately the same worker who was there when my son got in the fight happened to be on duty and was able to tell the cops what really happened. Chances are if she had not been there to take that call, the other daycare workers would have known nothing about this insignificant fight and I would have been arrested for child abuse. I was about 17 and a waitress during the overpass shift at the 24-hour diner I worked at. A bunch of guys came in drunk and talking like pirates. It really wasn't that big of a deal because at least they weren't barfing in the fake plants like most of the other drunk people did. They all ordered in their pirate voices and then I got to the last guy. He said, "Ugh matey, I'll have some cheese fries." So I took his order down and he picked up the butter knife beside him, pointed it at me and said very seriously, "If you fuck up my cheese fries, I swear to God I will slit your throat and jerk off in it." That sure did escalate quickly.